Hi guys, this is Bill with Media Unlocked, and we are still here in the third and final video of Macro Month. I'm here at my studio, 3O Studios in Lexington, Kentucky, and I just want to have a conversation with you about this. This is one of the weirdest things I have ever put on my camera. In fact, people saw me working with it over the last month, and strangers would come walking, "What are you got?" They thought I had a gun. Literally, because of the long barrel on it. What I have been working with and what we're talking about in this video is the Loawa 24mm f14 to 40 probe lens. You can see where they get the idea that it kind of looks like a gun. When you put it on your camera, it just looks really strange. It does look literally like a gun. In fact, one of the shots I did, I was working on catching a snow shot back behind the studio, and I have found a little bush that was pushing through a big pile of snow, and I'm shooting it with macro handheld. And one of the other workers in the building, she came out and she looked at me and said, "What have you got?" She thought I was trying to blow the bush up or something, you know. But hey, it looks a little weird, but it is absolutely an amazing piece of technology. Now, Loawa is kind of a strange lens company. They don't produce a lot that is really like other companies. Their model is more, let's make something that is totally unique in the world, something that really isn't a big need for most people. And that's where we're going to do our business at. So we have the probe lens. They make a lot of macro lenses. There is a 1:5 macro lens, which, if you think about it, 1:5 macro ratio is just amazing. Well, this is a 1:2. It has 11 elements built in. By the way, it is completely waterproof. This end of the lens up to this USB connection right here is completely waterproof. So you can put it down in a bottle of champagne, for example, if you want to shoot champagne bubbles. It's really cool. Now, this whole focusing system is based upon manual focusing. Again, with macro, you've heard me say this before, I really recommend manual focusing. It's a lot more accurate, but this one has no autofocus at all. In fact, when it's turned on to the back of my camera, it's completely manual. You'll notice that my camera says that it's at f0 right now. The lens and the camera do not talk to each other at all. If you want to change the aperture, you do it with a little bit of a ring right here on the lens, f14 to f40, remember. And this is the focusing ring right here, okay? Now, when you have this on your tripod, and by the way, it is kind of front heavy, so you really need a very secure tripod. Thanks to Colorado Tripod Company for providing me with one. And you put it on your tripod, everything works perfectly. Now, it is a macro lens, and macro photography requires a lot of light. You'd be amazed how much light you had to have. When I was shooting a tarantula, I literally would have studio level strobe lighting for a shot that was only this far away from the front of the lens. Now, you know, maybe there is a way to get more light in the front of the lens. David, maybe there's a way to get more light in the... He's a little slow today.
There is indeed. One thing you may have to get is a little power pack and then a little USB piece for it. If I can actually get it on the power bank, and I'll let Bill take it from here.
You can plug this in right here. This is why the USB port is there. And guess what? You have a ring light built into the front of the light, even though David can't seem to figure out his light cues because he's over there playing on his phone, but you know how that goes. This light is adjustable. You can take it higher or lower. And it is really a good thing because when you're focusing, the minimum focusing distance is literally right here. So when you're focusing this close, it is almost impossible to get enough light from your strobes in on the subject. So you either have to back away, which kind of defeats the purpose of having a 24mm probe lens, or you use this light as your light source. Now, it is a little bit of a harsh light. I've got one shot that worked out beautifully. Now, it is a bit of a harsh light. I did manage to get one shot that was absolutely perfect using the ring light. Usually the ring light, however, left me with really major hot spots and a lot of just like shadows that I couldn't deal with, that I didn't like. There is a New Zealand photographer, a gentleman named Charles Brooks, And he's a cellist with the symphony orchestra. And he's been shooting the inside of musical instruments with this lens. It's really cool. You ought to take a look at his work, because that's what turned me onto this lens and actually why I ordered it. Now the light, like I said, a little harsh, but it combines well and it gives you a light source right at the end. Now the lens itself has a fairly steep learning curve. It's hard to use. You're not used to this. You're not used to the techniques that it gives you and makes available to you. It is difficult to focus. It would be easier to focus if it had a longer turn on this particular focusing ring, but it is what it is here. Once you learn how to deal with this, and I shot a lot with live view when I was using this particular lens, but once you learn how to deal with it, you can get some amazing images. I have shot everything with this, things that I never would have thought. Earlier today, I literally had a piece of bubble wrap and I was shooting the inside of bubble wrap using light painting. Set it up for a 8 to 10 second exposure in ambient light, hit your switch, and then just use a flashlight to move around the edges to create light patterns on the shape of the bubble wrap. It was really cool. I have photographed trash. There's a pile of pallets and wood scraps behind my studio that somebody threw there we haven't dealt with yet. And I was literally crawling around inside the pallets with the probe lens shooting the inside of pallets. I shot the inside of a saxophone and it looks just unrecognizable. None of us have ever seen it. So I've been getting down close to things and I've been focusing inside of things with this probe lens. Like I said, it is waterproof for the first half of the lens. All of the controls are right here. Now, this is a very special niche lens. Most people are never really going to want to use this on a regular basis. If you do product photography, this is something you really need. This will give you some amazing product photography. It will also, when you work with video, give you some absolutely spectacular video shots that you can't get any other way. But unless you are working with a lot of macro, a lot of food photography, one of my recommendations to you is this is a lens you're going to want to rent instead of buy. It's about $1,600, which is a lot of money for a lens. If you're only going to use this for 1 or 2 shots a year, it's not worth it. But if you want to rent it for a day and put all your shots in one day, you're going to get some amazing stuff. So maybe this is a lens you'd want to rent. I unfortunately have fallen in love with this lens for the last month when I've had it. I'm supposed to ship it back to B&H tomorrow. And well, I might have to rob a bank and see if I can pay for it. I don't know. David, what do you think?
Let's do it.
All right. In any case, take a look at the Loawa 24 lens probe lens. In any case, take a look at the Loawa 24 millimeter probe lens. If you have a need for it, it is really interesting. And people are going to think you're really cool when you run around with this case because it looks like you got something spy going on here. It is really cool. Now, next month we're going to be ordering a lot more Loawa lenses because I've fallen in love with it. I want that 5:1. I want a lot of these interesting lenses from Loawa. So we're going to play with them for a little while. So take a look at it. Think about it. If you want to shoot some macro, this is something that might work for you.
Let's go.